Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the sine ratio and the cosine ratio. The sine ratio is defined as opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. And we can write that as sine of theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And that actually reduces down to sine of theta is equal to O over H. And we can look at the cosine ratio the same way. So the cosine ratio is defined as adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. And we write this as the cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And then we can write this shorter as cosine of theta is equal to A over H. Now let's go ahead and look at an example. So we're given a right triangle with 20 degrees, side length 10, and x up top. So the first thing we need to do in order to determine which ratio we should use, we have to label the triangle O, A, and H just so we know which sides we can work with. So we know that opposite of our angle theta, or 20 degrees, will be 10, so we can label that O. This will be A, we don't have a value for this, adjacent to the angle, and X will be the hypotenuse. So in order to look at this, we're only given the opposite side and the hypotenuse. So you know that you have to work with sine. So let's write this down again. So sine of theta is equal to O over A. Then we can just substitute values in. So the sine of 20 degrees is equal to the opposite side over, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, I'm sorry. So sine of 20 is going to equal 10 over x. And now you can go ahead and cross multiply. This will be sine over 1. So then you get 10 is equal to x times the sine of 20. And then divide by sine of 20. X is going to be equal to sine of, it's going to be equal to 10 over the sine of 20. And that's going to give you a value of, when you plug that into your calculator, 29.24. Okay. So now let's go ahead and look at an example where, a different example where you're trying to find the angle. So again, we're given another right triangle. This time with angle theta, we're looking for the angle in this example. We're given this side length is 12 and this side length is 9. So what we want to do here is again start off by labeling what we're given. So we don't have an angle, and we can label the opposite side, but we don't have that. What we do have is the adjacent side to the angle and the hypotenuse of the triangle. So just by looking at what we're given, we can remember that cosine is equal to A over H. So that's the adjacent side over the hypotenuse side. But in this case, we're looking for the angle, so we have to do the inverse cosine. So we write cosine -1 of A over H, and that's going to give you theta. Then when you go ahead and substitute those values in, So cosine inverse of 9 over 12 is going to give you your angle. And theta is going to be approximately 41.41.